Hey, what's up, you guys? We're the Traveling Cookies. I'm Mike.
I'm Stephanie.
And today we're going to be talking about the Velocicoaster. We're going to be doing a review on the new ride. We had the opportunity to go on the ride about 4 times. We did 3 or 4.
We did 4 times.
4 times, and let me tell you, it was one of the best rides. So we're going to start off by going over a couple of stats. We're going to be talking about the height, the actual drop, and we're going to be showing you clips of the actual ride queue. I'm going to be honest with you, the ride queue is pretty cool.
There is a lot of things that I didn't expect that came up in it. For sure, you knew there was going to be animatronics, but there's actually one part in particular we'll talk about that was totally unexpected.
Yeah, definitely setting the bar with this ride. So the height of the top hat ends up being 155 feet. At the top of it, you get to see pretty much the entire park.
The drop is 140 feet. They kind of stall it out before you fully go down.
The first launch, they have a little pre-show before you actually get taken off onto the roller coaster, which it goes from 0 to 50 for that first shot. The second launch is 40 miles an hour to 70 miles an hour. The 70 mile an hour is where you're getting rocketed towards the top hat.
And they do that in 2.4 seconds. The first launch is done in 2 seconds. You could definitely feel it when you're on it. And that's actually when your eyes started to water, right?
Yeah, this was definitely the first roller coaster ever to make me tear. And it was tears of joy, not tears of fright.
I think it was tears from the wind.
Yeah, it was... It's a fast roller coaster.
The length of the ride is 4,700 feet. It's quite a long track that you're on. It's made by Intamin, too, the design.
Just to kind of give you an example of what to expect as far as the quality of the roller coaster. Only one of the smoothest roller coasters that I've been on. It didn't have like that ruggedy feel where you kind of start to get beat up. It was smooth from launch to the end. It was beautiful. The lap bar for me was pretty comfortable. It comes right over your head down to like this region. There's like 2 spots where you'll be able to test out the seat.
Right where you could see the Velocicoaster sign with the 2 raptors, there's one right in front of that. And the second one is where the locker system is, which that's another thing we're going to talk about. The lockers are in a completely different area. Do it before you actually go through the queue, or if you wanted to experience the queue, all the way at the end where the lockers are, that's where the other test seat is. Even if you get on the queue and you're like, oh man, I really should have tried that test seat, there's one right where the lockers are, and you'll have a second chance to do that. We do want to tell you the height restriction is 51 inches, and they do say that the waist restriction is 40 inches. It really goes by your body type. There's been people with greater waist than 40 inches that have gotten on. The Velocicoaster is located at Universal's Islands of Adventure. There are the 2 parks, Universal Studios, which is the original park, Islands of Adventure, which opened in 1999. That's the one that has the Velocicoaster, and it's in the Jurassic Park section. They have the River Adventure still there. They didn't change it over to Jurassic World, a theme like that's in California. They've kept it to the original Jurassic Park, but they did add the Velocicoaster, which is a Jurassic World theme, but it's in that area of Islands of Adventure.
So, in order for you to get to the... If you want to get onto the ride and try it, they actually started, I believe it was May 3rd, they were doing technical rehearsals for pass holders. So you had to go on the email that they sent out, you had to register and get pretty much reserve your spot online. And from there, it's really just been open. I know they have an open date of June 10th, but really, it's been going on every single day. I read online that they had it running for half of the day, and then they ended up shutting it down. I mean, weather could have played an influence on that. I know if you're over at studios, there's a lot of weather delays with Rip Ride Rocket just because of the actual height.
Feel like they're also calling it a technical rehearsal so they can work out any bugs that are going on. I mean, they did do a couple months with the water jugs that simulate a person's weight. That way, if it goes down for any reason, guests can't get upset because it's not technically open yet. They're able to run it for, a month to get through any bugs or issues that they need to figure out before opening date. What happened with Hagrid's, where it constantly was closing down, I know that Universal was probably trying to avoid that.
Yeah, especially this is a very hyped ride. Definitely want to make sure that, it's not going to break down the first day. To get to the ride, you could either walk through Hogsmeade, go around where the castle is, and cut through Jurassic Park. As soon as you walk through those arches and you pass the first drink stand, you're going to see it to your left. And it actually takes you right in front of the Discovery Center. So I like how they incorporated that. You get to walk along the waterfront. To me, I feel like how they placed the Velocicoaster is when you first walk into the park, and that's the first thing you see. Right across, you have that beautiful coaster. It's literally going from one side of the park to the other. It's the second longest track, I think, that they have at the park. Besides Hagrid's is the first.
Beats them, yeah.
But how they have it all laid out, it's an awesome view to look at.
So we thought that we were only going to get to ride it for the pass holder preview. We were able to ride front row. Mike had told them it was our honeymoon. After we went back for the technical rehearsal, we realized they opened up a whole section of extended queue. The area that they built along the water, they run the queue all along that back area. They designed it to look like Jurassic Park. The theme is amazing. They have beautiful plants. And then after that, they take you into, I guess it would be the paddock, where you enter where the raptors are.
First, when you walk into the paddock area, you're going to notice the 4 raptors from the Jurassic World movie. You're going to see this beautiful statue of the 4 main raptors, including the top hat of the roller coaster, which I think is a nice touch to it. Really ties the whole piece in. The raptors are Delta, Echo, Charlie, and Blue. So you get to see all of them up close. So the opening part of the queue behind the raptors, you're going to notice Mr. DNA is talking. And he just briefly describes what Velocicoasters do, how ferocious they are. What did I say? I say Velocicoasters.
What do Velocicoasters do?
I just out my whole train of thought. You're going to notice that Mr. DNA is doing a brief description about the raptors and kind of gives comparisons to living animals that are around today. After you pass the statues of all the raptors, you go into this little area where you can see the second launch taking place going to the top hat. One thing that I was really surprised on as you're standing in the queue is that when you see the roller coaster zip by you, there's these windows that you can actually look out onto the track. Based on the timing that you're standing there, you get a couple of different scenarios that will play out. The one scenario that we were able to get on film was Blue walking by, and the way that they made this raptor look, it is so lifelike. It literally feels like you're staring right into her eyes, and then she just runs off. So I've never seen that on a ride queue.
It's amazing the fact that there are windows and you could see the ride, the coaster go through, and then it follows up with raptors chasing it. So they're not true windows. Obviously there's something that they've done to them that lets you see the digital image of these raptors through it, but it's really amazing.
You're also going to notice that Dr. Wu is kind of talking to you about the grooming stations. And when you get to the grooming stations, that's where you're going to see all the animatronics. You're going to be able to see Blue in her cage. You see her shaking, blinking, kind of doing like that raptor purr that you hear in the movie. set the bar with this type of attraction. And
There's cages for all 4 of the Raptors. However, only 2 are in there. But it does show you that 2 are empty to depict that it's a placement for all 4 of those Raptors. After that is when you hit the locker section. The way these lockers are done is exceptional compared to the designs of the other lockers. They're done so in a way where you can have your phone through majority of the queue. If you're like me, I normally have my phone in my backpack, so as soon as backpack goes in the locker, I don't have my phone, so I don't really have a chance to get a lot of the queues unless I want to risk bringing my phone. Rides like Rip Ride Rocket have a metal detector, so you can't really bring your phone, but the lockers are 2-way. So you would walk in, you put your stuff in the locker, and then when you get off the ride, you come out in another area, you scan either your hotel card or your annual pass, whichever one. Your locker will then open back up. You don't have to backtrack anywhere, which is like amazing.
yeah, they have everything all color coordinated, and they have different dinosaurs to kind of help you remember what section you put your locker in. You definitely want to make sure that you get everything out. I unfortunately left the lighter in my pocket, not realizing. When I went through the metal detector, I had to go kind of off to the side back to the locker just to put it in. And when we got off the ride, when I went to pull everything out, I didn't think to just look down and grab what was in the front. But it's a lighter. I mean, it's kind of hard to get a lighter where,
Yeah.
just because of the type of park, but, you live and learn.
That's the thing you have to remember is to check completely through, because I know some people like to take their water bottles out or other things out of their bags before they actually put them in the locker. And if you have the 2-way locker system and you're opening it from the back, make sure you look all the way through that you have all of your items. I do think this is totally a step up for Universal to do this.
Oh, yeah. They should start to figure out a way to implement the one way in, one way out type locker.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it kind of just eliminates that cluster of people already getting off the ride trying to grab their stuff, and you have all those other people trying to put their stuff in a locker. Kind of just helps mitigate that cluster of people.
It's also nice to have all of your stuff while you're waiting in line. That Velocicoaster on June 10th, the line is going to be crazy, and we all know it's probably not going to have a virtual line for a while. So if you could have your phone and your bag, your water, grab a drink if you want to do that, whatever the case is, but you can have that for most of the queue. After you go through the locker section and you put your phones away, but there is a second type of pre-show. Claire and Owen are discussing the ride and almost acting like you're in Jurassic, like the park, right?
Yeah, they make it look like she's in a control tower. The background is like the shot of the roller coaster, and how they're the eye in the sky, making sure that all the raptors and the guests are safe. It's kind of just like a security measure.
Owen comes in and he's like, "No, this is bad. It's dangerous. You shouldn't be doing this." That's kind of comical because it almost adds to how they would be in the movie. That's their personalities, and it just fits really well with the ride.
They did a really good job with the pre-show. They made it like they're talking to us, I guess, to like ease those nerves, like Steph was saying. Like, if you're scared of roller coasters, whatever it may be, it's definitely something to experience.
It's really cool. You could find little details and like nods to the movies as you're walking through the queue. There's like books from the doctors. There's, what did you point out that the Raptors had?
Oh, they had the muzzle guns.
Yeah.
It was cool just to kind of have like those little novelties on the ride. They had his book, Jeff Goldblum's character. If you know his name, please comment below in the movie. They actually had like a version of his book on the ride queue. Once you pass all that, you're in line for the Velocicoaster. As you start to line up to go into your car, there's like a little screen like off to your left or right that shows you how to sit in the ride, what the ride does, tells you how to make sure that you're gonna be like in a proper seat, I guess.
And make sure your head's back, you're not leaning forward because it could hurt your neck, like things like that. Mm-hmm. They tell you. If you are somebody that is afraid of airtime, like if you are absolutely like, I don't want to leave my seat, I need my booty to like touch the seat the whole time, I'm afraid, like don't go on this ride. It's like most of it you're out of your seat, I feel like.
How would you rate the Velocicoaster on a scale of 1 to 10?
Oh, wow. I'm gonna say 8.
Okay.
I love the Velocicoaster a lot. But Hagrid's theming, to me, even though Velocicoaster's theme is wonderful, when you're actually on the ride, Hagrid's theming, I feel like I was more surprised on things on that ride than on Velocicoaster. And that's the only reason why it's an 8, I have to say. But in thrill, overall thrill, aside from theming and everything like that, I would probably rate it a 9. So I'm not going to give it a full 10. But the first 2 times that I went on it, I was like this, holding on. And the second 2 times, I was completely hands up, going in the inversions and everything. And I got off and I asked Mike if I had a death wish because it's like scary to do that. But the thrill of it, it's like amazing. And now that I'm talking about it, do I want to give it a 9.5? Maybe. It's totally worth. If you're a coaster fanatic, like nothing compares to it, I have to say.
See, I'm looking at it as a whole. So between the actual ride, the thrill elements of the ride, the theming. If you didn't know you were in a theme park and you didn't know that you were going to go on a roller coaster, if Jurassic Park was real, I feel like I was literally going through like a prep station to prepare myself to see like real life raptors. Between all of that, the ride itself, I'm gonna have to give it a 9.5. So sorry. You wanted to say
I said
you gave it a low number. I already had that number in my head.
But I said that after talking about it, that I regret saying that.
We're just gonna have to go and write it so you can get a final, get that 5th time in and get that final synopsis of the ride. Only worth the trip.
100%, 100%. I was reading that people for the pass holders were flying down morning of and flying back after riding it, and I would do that. Other rides, like I wouldn't do that for Rip Ride, I wouldn't do that for Hulk, but Velocicoaster is on another level.
Yeah.
It's 100% on another level. And if you like the theming in theme parks, if you are a fan of Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, or if you like roller coasters, like this is on point. Like this is for you.
Yeah. So after you go through your whole ride, and after you go grab your bags, you walk into the Discovery Center. So that's where like they have all like the merchandise and stuff. So if you guys are looking to get t-shirts or sweatshirts, whatever it is that you're looking for, they do have that there. I've noticed when we were there was actually quite a few kiosks set up like throughout the park, normally towards like the front, where you can get some of the memorabilia for the Velocicoaster. Overall, awesome ride. If you're kind of thinking about it, you're not sure about it, I'm telling you right now, I'm giving it a 9.5. Steph's pretty much giving it a 9.5. All right, guys, so I think that's it for our review. Definitely make sure that you like and subscribe and follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is thetraveling_cookies. We're going to try to put out more reviews about some of the other rides that we've been on and experienced. If you follow us on Instagram, you're going to be able to see all of the updates for all of our videos that are going to be coming out. So definitely check it out. I just want to thank you guys for taking the time, and we hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments below.